Okay, hello everybody and welcome. This is my second ever live stream, so try and go easy on me. Today, basically, all I'm going to be doing is upgrading my main video editing PC. Inside it currently, I believe there's an i7 8700, 32 gigabytes of RAM. I've upgraded to the G.Skill running at 3000 megahertz. And anyway, so we're just going to be upgrading that. Because right now it's got a EVGA 650 or 600B or something like that. It's like an old bronze rated power supply, so we're going to be upgrading the power supply. But in addition to that, I'm currently running 3 Be Quiet Pure Wings 140 millimeter fans, and the motherboard only has 2 case fan sockets. So I'm going to be adding this Silverstone, if I can get it out from underneath this Silverstone fan hub. It's a PWM fan hub, and I'm just going to be adding that to the PWM connector or header on the board. And then we should be able to run all 3 because, like I said, there's only 2 case fan headers, so I've been running only 2 case fans since I first built this PC. So we're going to add that hub, and then I'll be able to run all 3 fans. We're going to also, actually probably the first thing I'll do is replace that EVGA 600B because that's a real nuisance. And it's a non-modular power supply in this thing too. So you're going to see now in a sec when I open this thing up, it's just a spaghetti mess of cables. So let's open it up and let's pull the 24-pin power connectors and a bunch of other things that we need to pull to remove the power supply. And while I'm doing that, feel free to ask any questions you might have. I'd like to do one of these live streams, you know, maybe twice a month. Just because it's kind of fun. I don't mind doing it at all. And it's a good opportunity to connect and chat with you guys. So this video will probably go up. I'll probably do some editing. So I'll take it down after the live stream is finished, and then I'll do some editing on it and upload it as a standalone video. So if you're watching this now, after it's been recorded live, welcome. Thanks for watching. And let's start upgrading this PC. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is pull all the power connectors. And I probably should ask first if everything is coming through fine, because I don't actually know. Let me just see here. Video looks good. You guys can see the overview of my system here. The new power supply is over here still in the box. What else can you see? Hubs over here and a few other knickknacks you don't need to see over there. So you guys can see everything fine. I hope you guys can hear it fine. Let me know if you can't. And hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for tuning in. So let's pull the 24 pin. Hey, Kyle, how's it going? If I stand, am I in the way? Not really. Okay, you guys can still see, because I'm probably going to have to stand a fair bit in order to do this. So let's pull the 24 pin ever so gently, as 24 pins tend to be a little hard to get out. Gentle was sarcasm if you couldn't tell, because you really have to rip on those things. And then let's pull the 6+2 pin from the graphics card. What else do we need to pull? We need the CPU. I hate this one because it's actually obscured by the CryoRig H7, so it's really hard to get at with these big bare hands of mine. Okay, that one's pulled. And that should be it for the EVGA 600B. I don't think we missed anything. Just double check. Nope. Okay, cool. So let's flip this thing out. My Google Home Mini just activated for some... Stop. Every now and again it'll activate like that, and it's hilarious, but it's really annoying at the same time. So you might not be able to see anything for a few seconds. I'm just going to flip this thing over. Make sure I'm not going to damage anything. And lay that down right there so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right. Volume seems like maybe a little louder if possible. All right, let me see if I can fix that real quick here. Open sound settings, and then device properties. I could do this in OBS too, but I'd rather do it at the source. So tell me if that's too loud. Hoping it's not going to be too loud, but yeah, seems like we're coming through, peaking at about -10 dB, so it should be okay there. What are the specs? Currently, it's running an i7 8700, so it's the new Coffee Lake i7. It's running 32 gigabytes of G.Skill RGB RAM, G.Skill Trident, I believe it's called. We're running an EVGA 600B power supply, and that's what we're getting rid of right now because I have to replace it with the EVGA Supernova 650 G1, which is a fully modular power supply, so that'll be much nicer looking. And as you can see, this is kind of a spaghetti of noodles here, so spaghetti of cables. So I'm gonna have to unhook all of the SATA power connectors here out of the drives and all that jazz. Let's pull up the 24 pin from on the inside. I didn't even finish listing off the stupid specs. Sorry, my bad. Getting distracted trying to pull all the cables out. It's also got a GTX 1080 Founders Edition card. And as you can probably see, there's a Samsung Evo 500 gig SSD and a HyperX Savage 500 gig SSD, as well as a couple 7200 RPM hard drives. The cooler is a CryoRig H7, which is a really nice cooler. And what am I missing? Case fans are the Be Quiet Pure Wings 2 140mm fans, which are very quiet, live up to their name quite well. And they're nice looking. They're nice. They're professional looking. I like them a lot. So how are you guys doing today? It's a lovely Tuesday evening. It's kind of an odd time to stream, but you know, do what you gotta do. And also let me know if you guys like these streams, because if so, I'll do a bunch more of them. I enjoy them. I don't enjoy being live because any of my mistakes can be captured very easily, but yeah, you know, do what you gotta do. All right. What I like about this case, just one of the many things I like. It's midnight there. Wow, what are you still doing up? That's way past my bedtime. It's only 7:45 here. One of the many things I like about this case is that it has a really easy way to remove the power supply. I can just slide it right on out. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you guys see that? On vacation, nice. Hope you're enjoying your vacation. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just sliding this power supply out, and I'll just move this up so you guys can see it a little better. You guys can probably see that there. So the case actually has a mounting bracket that bolts straight onto the power supply before you put it into the case, so that all you have to do is, once you have this power supply shroud sort of thing, you can actually just slide it straight into the case, and then it just goes in with two thumb screws, which is awesome. It simplifies the process a lot, especially when you got one of these really crappy old non-modular power supplies. Good to hear that you are enjoying your vacation. And Kyle, I need a vacation too, man. Big time. Massively. Luckily, I just got a day off the other day, Monday, and ended up buying a new car. So maybe I don't need vacation. I probably shouldn't take any more vacations ever. But anyway, let's see if we can get this last... What is this anyway? This is the GPU. It's being a bit of a nuisance. The 6-pin connectors aren't sliding through as nicely as I would like them to. Oh, I see why. The GPU is kind of obscuring it a little bit. How can we put that through without... Oh, I don't know if we can. We might have to remove the GPU. Why don't I take a vacation? Because I shouldn't. In December, taking one thing. Oh, you might have been talking to Kyle. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I'm also thinking of doing that. I I do not want to remove this graphics card, man. It is like, it's not my least favorite thing. It's fairly easy, but I don't like doing it when the case is like this. Let's see if I can't jiggle that the way through. You guys can't really see what I'm doing, but the 6-pin power connectors that come from the power supply are being a bit of a nuisance and catching on the rubber grommets here of the case. And it's kind of pinned between the graphics card and the case itself. Oh, there we go. Okay, we got one of them. Let's see if we can get the other one through. So it's a little hard to get through. Oh, almost. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we didn't need to take the graphics card out. That's good. Content creation vacation always ends up being a non-vacation. Yeah, you're exactly right. That's exactly what it is. It's not really a vacation, is it? It's more of just a more time for work time. And for small content creators like myself and Kyle, Kyle's got a great YouTube channel there as well, Tech Squid TV. For small content creators like us, it's really hard to do YouTube as well because we both have full-time jobs, and it's hard managing both a full-time job and YouTube, because YouTube, as I'm sure you can guess, takes up a ridiculous amount of your time. But anyway, let's all right, let's just move this forward. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move our new power supply over here, push this back a little bit, because I have to remove the, it's not a shroud, I don't really know what it's called, but frame, I guess, power supply frame, so that I can put it on the new power supply. Took 11 days off, but now promised myself not to do any work for the first 5 days. It's a good idea. See, the thing is, sometimes you really just need a vacation, you know, something to completely unwind and relax, because especially, you know, for someone like myself, I'm working a lot. So I've got a full-time job, so I'm working 40 hours a week, plus I'm putting in 10, 15, sometimes even 20 hours on the side for YouTube alone. So you're really looking at like a 60-hour work week. And it's really hard to maintain, as I'm sure you guys have noticed, or maybe you haven't. I'm not sure if you're new to the channel or not, but I haven't been able to maintain my once-a-week upload schedule. It's just really difficult because those 60-hour work weeks, you know, stuff comes up and you just can't get to YouTube. And I'd love to make it my top priority, but kind of need money to live. So yeah, sometimes you just need to take a vacation, man. I mean, what I would love, and the reason I was talking about, like, I would love to take a vacation is so that I could, you know, just knock out 10, 15, 20, even, well, 10 or 15 videos. Just shoot them all at one time, just have a whole bunch of content lined up and ready to shoot, so that I can take a quote-unquote break from YouTube and really focus on some other things in my life that I need to get going on. Even though I still have a full-time job. So it's not really a vacation, but technically speaking for us, it is sort of a break. All right, so let's focus on the new power supply. So the old power supply is out. It's the old EVGA 600B. It's a nice looking power supply, but it's super cheap. I mean, this one was, I think I got it for like $30 US or something like that. It's like the cheapest power supply you can get. But it served me really well. It's never caused me any problems. And I am keeping it around just for some other builds maybe. I'm not going to get rid of it totally, but we are getting rid of it for now to put in this new system because I want a modular power supply. I've wanted one for a long time, so I bought one. Just makes everything cleaner, you know? From my experience, taking a few days totally off will make you more productive in the end. That is absolutely true. I can confirm that for you right now. But I'm one of those people that it's a bit of a workaholic, and I've only really realized that in the past few years of my life. Oop, maybe don't want to do that way. So I like to be working 24/7 anyway. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining at all. But yeah, sometimes you definitely do just need a vacation. Anyway, so what can you guys see? Can you guys see the power supply? Sort of, not really. So it's not really going to be much of an unboxing experience. But anyway, got the manual here. I've already sort of unboxed this anyway. I've taken all the plastic off so I don't have to do that on stream. Get rid of the foam pieces here. And there we go, a fully modular 650 watt EVGA Supernova. All the connectors on the back there. And the cables are all individually sleeved in black, which is great because I love black. What do we got here? We got our CPUs, CPU connectors. What else do we need? This looks like GPU. Yep, VGA, VGA, VGA. Okay, nice. Ooh, comes with nice EVGA Velcro straps. Rather upload less but maintain the quality you've had so far. Well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. You know, it's not Marquez Brownlee quality. It's not Austin Evans quality or anything like that. I wish I could maintain that sort of quality and work a full-time job and do all that jazz. But maybe that'll come later in my YouTube career. But I'm glad you like it. I'm really glad. What do we got here? Okay, that's our one GPU connector. I think we only need one because I think I just unplugged one 6-pin plus 2. Yeah, so I only need one of these. So that's great. My God, how many does it have here? 3? 4? Okay. Well, I guess if I ever wanted to run 4 GTX 1080s, I guess there's no way that power supply would run 4 of them. But anyway, the cables are there, so that's cool. Okay, so we got our GPU, we got our CPU connectors. SATA, where are you, SATA? Or SATA, whichever you prefer. I prefer SATA. Oh, there's our big honkin' motherboard, 24-pin ATX cable. So we got that one. What else we got here? We've got, looks like Molex. I don't need that. Here's our SATA, and then we've got another. I don't know about you guys. It might be just me, but these freaking power connectors, I don't know how many of these I have. Do you guys have like a whack of these? Because I'm pretty sure I could fill an entire drawer of these things between, you know, all the monitors I've bought, all the power supplies, all of the, even just like TVs and all that. Like they're pretty standard, the 3-pin power connectors, but I have so many of these. Anyway, I'm just gonna put that back in the box because I don't need that. What do we have here? No, I don't need that. And I think that's all I need from this box. So I can close this back up. I'll probably put the old power supply back in here just to keep it nice and in the same place. Okay. And what should I do next? Should I install the power supply thing first, or should I? Yeah, maybe I should just connect all the. Oh, that's weird. I should connect all the connectors first. So you guys probably can't see this all that well, but doing my best here. Let me just push this ahead just a little bit more. I move this ahead. Can you guys see that now? Let me see. I'm running off my laptop here, so I'm kind of having to switch a little bit. Yep, you guys can see that. Cool. So you guys can watch as I mess this up because I've never actually. My 4-year-old PC still works well. You know what? My old PCs that I've ran could have lasted me years and years and years, but I'm a bit of a tech nerd and I'm obsessed about having the newest stuff, which I shouldn't, but it gets me in trouble sometimes. Anyway, all right, let's connect the motherboard first. Probably should have did this last because it's the biggest. Oh my God. It's equally as difficult to plug in a modular power supplies connector into the power supply end as it is to plug it into the motherboard end. You just really have to force it in there. Ooh, sticker peel. Sticker peel. Ooh, shiny. Nice. Should have did that last. Anyway. 7 years old, man. I don't know how you're running with a 7-year. Now, 4 years, perfectly acceptable. 7, you're getting up there. VGA 1. Let's use that one. I really like how this power supply is presented. Everything is really nice, sort of the matte. I mixed matte and shadow. This matte black shadow type look going on. So what do we got here? Our CPU. Only one of those, but I've got two, so that's cool. CPU pin, CPU 2 or CPU 1? Oh, it's up there. Plug that one in. i7 3770K. It was a nice processor back in the day. And you know what? Like, a lot of people, myself included, obsess a lot over this new tech. Like, Coffee Lake came out and Intel released their first 6-core processors, and my head went nuts, and I just immediately bought it. But you don't need that stuff. I mean, the difference that it makes, sure, in video editing applications, if you're running 4K and stuff, yeah, it's going to make a difference. How much? You know, could be 30-40% even, but like, if you're rendering, you're not just sitting there. You're not sitting there watching the render go by. So like, it's not totally necessary. You're going to get up and walk away from your computer anyway. So like, yeah, it'll take you more time before you can come back and use your computer again, or it'll take you less time. But like, it's not a big deal, man. You don't need it. If it works, it works. Before I had the i7-8700, which I have now, I had an i7-6700, and like, that would have lasted me for 5 years if I wanted it to. I mean, it was working perfectly, but of course I had to have the newest stuff. Just had to. And that stuff, that gets you in trouble. What did I do with the SATA? Oh, I must have put it back in the box. That's my bad. 8th gen is nice, but not quite worth it. I mean, come on, like, Ryzen's... One sec. I gotta grab this SATA connector again. Ryzen's chips are looking increasingly more and more attractive to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the blue team, but the red team is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger for such a cheap price that it makes me wonder whether, it makes me wonder how long that I'll be sticking with Intel before I decide to go AMD. Because those Ryzen chips, man. I was super interested when their new Vega mobile, the Vega mobile graphics too, but also just the Vega integrated graphics came out. Like, man, honestly, like, if they can perfect that, that's a whole new market that people love. Like, people are just building smaller and smaller and smaller PCs, and I've wanted to do it myself, or just get these really small, almost like oh god, what are they called? Apple boxes. Complete brain fart. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. That's really bothering me. Somebody help me out. Mac Minis. Mac Minis? Yeah, anyway. People are building those. And with the Ryzen Vega graphics, if they can just get that stronger and stronger and stronger each year, we're going to get to a point where these big boxes are not necessary at all. And that's going to be really cool. No, I was talking about the Mac Mini. Sometimes I get like that, where I'm just trying to focus on what I'm doing, and then what I was about to say completely slips my mind. But anyway. Okay, it's time to play. How many of these nasty little cables do we need? Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to need 2 of these. Because each of them have 3 on them. I wish they had 4. Ugh, why couldn't they just have 1 more? Anywho, yeah. Ryzen and AMD is getting more and more impressive each time. I came very close, actually, to buying the Ryzen 1800X over the i7-8700, but in the end, my loyalty to stupid Intel got me in trouble. So let's plug in the SATA connectors here. SATA. There we go. 1, 2. Okay, so that's all the cables I need. Only had a Mac because of Final Cut, but when 10 came out, I jumped to Premiere. I've had both. didn't have a Mac Mini. I had an iMac for a little bit, and then I had a MacBook Pro for a little bit. And I have to say, I've used both operating systems fairly extensively, and Windows has always been... Now, disclaimer, Windows was my first operating system. Windows 95, I think, was my first operating system. But I've always preferred Windows to Mac, and I'm not going to get into specifics, but all of the Windows-oriented editing programs have been my favorite as well. Between Premiere Pro and After Effects, the whole Adobe suite. I know it's available on Mac as well, but I just find it runs so much better on PC. It's always been my favorite. I wasn't a fan of Final Cut Pro. I used it. I used iMovie. I used Final Cut Pro. And I didn't really like either of them, to be completely honest with you. They're great. They did what they needed, but Premiere Pro and After Effects will always be where my heart is at. All right, so let's fasten this frame to the new power supply and get it rigged up into the system. And by the way, RGB RAM is so stupidly unnecessary, but damn, if you got a window in your PC, it becomes worth it the first time you turn it on. I'll show you guys in a minute what I mean, but I'm sure you guys have seen it a million times. I'll probably do a full review on it at some point soon. And get some nice cinematic 4K action going. But yeah, RGB RAM is not necessary, but God, it looks so good. And I'm not even... It's funny because I say that and I sound like a person who goes mad over RGB, and I'm really not. Like I don't bling out my PCs at all. Like you probably could just tell looking at my PC, everything is just black and just clean. I like clean. I don't love RGB, but some RGB products, man, it makes me reconsider a little bit going full RGB. It's necessary if you can afford it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Gamers like to rave about AMD, but it's just not there elsewhere. Virtualization, software improvements, or Intel only. Yeah, true enough. Like I said, I've been blue team for ever, and it just seems like to me that AMD is always playing the catch-up game. And fair enough, AMD is a much smaller company than Intel, but what am I doing wrong here? I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Just don't think it's fitting properly. I might have just tightened one screw down too far before I tighten the rest of them. Classic Mark mistake. Getting impatient and paying attention to the chat. Do you resell the old hardware you're replacing? I do. Honestly, I resell everything. If it's a few years old, it's out of here. And that's just because I hate depreciation. And if you keep things around for long enough, you're not going to have, you're just going to have a bunch of useless junk because gear gets so outdated so ridiculously quickly. Like we were saying before, gear from 2010, like a graphics card from 2010, does not cut it for gaming in 2018. It just doesn't. I mean, if you're running, cheap little games, or not cheap games, but easy to run games like, League of Legends and even to an extent like Fortnite and stuff like that, sure, fine. GPU from 2010, if it was a top of the line GPU in 2010, you might get away with it. But if you want to run, Battlefield 5, the new Call of Duty games that are coming out, stuff like that, you do need a stronger system. And if you don't get rid of your components every few years and it just depreciates to nothing, you're left with junk. So I don't really have a rule, but when I buy new stuff, I replace the old stuff. So I just sell it off, and whether that's on Kijiji or eBay or whatever else. But I get rid of it because I don't like to. My girlfriend would kill me if she heard me say this, but I don't like to keep clutter around, even though I do. But also I like to get somewhat of a little bit of a return on the things that I buy. Certainly doing interesting stuff. RGB is too tacky. Then again, I'm 36. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. I'm at the point where it does seem a little tacky, but at the same time, like, you've got Philips Hue lights kicking around and everything else, and every now and again you want to make your entire house look like it's one giant rave party. no problem. Just hit the what is it? The Asus Aura Sync, and the RGB RAM starts blinking and all that jazz. It's funny. Except good speakers and audio monitors. Yeah, absolutely. And even to an extent, monitors last a long time. Like I have at work, I still have my old Dell UltraSharps, 24-inch 1080p monitors, and they're good color accurate stuff for for work and business and stuff like that. So as long as the monitor isn't absolute crap, they'll last 5, maybe even 10 years sometimes. And yeah, speakers will last forever. I'm missing, great. I lost one of my, in talking or whatever else, I lost one of my frame screws. So I'm going to have to replace that with something I have in here. Actually, it's not in here. It's in my pill case. You guys have found this funny. If I can find it. Oh, yep. This is actually a good tip too. You guys might like this. So I keep all of my PC case screws and anything related to computer hardware in a pill bottle. And it seals, just an old empty pill bottle. And whenever I need screws, there they are inside that sealed pill bottle, so I never lose them. Good tip if you tend to lose them like I do. The only thing is trying to find one that matches the other 4 screws, because that's going to drive me nuts if they don't. Is this one matching? Not really. Darn. This one's close. Oh no, this one is matching. Okay, this is a power supply screw. Anyway, so yeah, good good storage solution for screws. Pill bottles, old pill bottles, recycled pill bottles. This is not the same size. Yeah, see? It is a good tip. You guys learn stuff from watching me blunder through this. Because that's exactly what I'm doing, blundering through this. I would have this, if I wasn't talking to you guys, I'd probably have this done in 15 minutes. But, trying to chat with you guys and have a little bit of fun while I'm doing it. But yeah, let's get this last screw in. Pop it in the case, and then we'll move on to the Silverstone PWM fan header. So if you guys weren't listening to me drone on about random tech stuff, what would you guys be doing? I know you're on vacation. Is it Demir or Demir? Sorry, I'm not too familiar with that name, so if I butchered it, I'm terribly sorry. What would you guys be doing if you weren't listening to this right now? Because I know there must be something interesting going on. Other than watching me do this. My cat is sitting over there, and I just picked up this spaghetti noodle thing, and he perked right up. I think it's a snake or something. Cams I'm using right now, either the A6300. No, actually, I am using... So the main cam that you guys are looking at right now is the Microsoft LifeCam. I think that's what it's called. M5000 or something like that. And then right here is the Logitech... What is it? C615? And then the... Really need coffee/sleep. I don't... To be honest with you, I don't even drink coffee. I don't know how I've survived this long. But I don't drink coffee at all. Oh, look, there's my other power supply screw. Fantastic. Well, I'll pop that one in the pill bottle. This is going to be a really long nuisance video to cut, but yeah, it'll probably be on my channel at some point. Okay, so let's shift this over, and then this kind of feels a little bit like a transplant that you do in a third world country somewhere. Just have just organs lying everywhere and just mess of wires and yeah. So all right, so the old heart is out. Well, it's not even really the heart, is it? It's kind of like what would you call that? That's a power supply, but well, I guess it is sort of the heart. So we'll pop that in. I guess if like the CPU is the brain, and then the GPU is the muscle. What's the RAM? don't know what you'd consider the RAM. I guess the power supply would be the heart. I don't know. What do you guys think? Alright, so let's shove this in through here. God, these cables are going to look so much nicer in the interior as well than those nasty rainbow colored noodles. Usually can't sleep, so this is just unwind. That's unfortunate. I had a night the other day where I just really could not sleep, and it really sucks. You know, I'm not one to usually have trouble with that, so when I do, it's kind of like it hits me extra hard because I'm not used to it. But yeah, it really does suck, doesn't it? All right, there we go, and that just slides into place. I almost want to redo the cable management on everything here because this is just such a mess. Let's just drape that over the side. We got SATA power connectors everywhere. Hope this thing fits. CPU, brain, RAM, long. Yeah, sure. RAM could be the longs. There we go. Fit that in. And then we'll just do up the thumb screws here on the side. If it goes in, because it really doesn't want to at the moment. There we go. This is about the most boring content. PSU is the heart. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Kind of wondering how delayed these YouTube streams are. I know Twitch tends to be around like 15 to 30 seconds, depending. But wondering how delayed these streams are. I'll have to look it up later. All right, should be able to get the thumb screws in now. Yep, there we go. They call them thumb screws, and I know you can sort of use your thumbs, but I find for a lot of these thumb screws, they really need a little extra help with the screwdriver. Especially right now, jeez. Get that extra torque in there. There we go. Okay, the heart is in. The surgeon was successful in putting the heart in. He hasn't actually connected any of the valves or veins, or I'm not a surgeon. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but anyway. So let's connect everything up, and then we'll move on. So I really need to redo this cable management, man. I really do. Now would probably be a good time to do it too, since I've got it out and it's all opened up and everything. I also, the last time I took this apart, I geniusly forgot to reconnect the USB 3.0 front header to the motherboard, so my front USB connectors weren't working. So that's nice. That was genius. Okay, so you guys can still all see all this. That's great. Glad you can. Just had to periodically check just in case one of the cameras went down or something. They are kind of old-ish cameras, so I'm a little worried about them, but anyway. Okay, what's the best way to do this? I hate cable management. I love how it looks. I hate actually doing it. I don't know about you guys, but it is a nasty process that I am never, ever enjoying. Alright, so let's pop it up that way. You guys can see the insides there. Now, 24 pin is up there. Pop that through the rubber grommets. My big head is probably in the way right now, so I apologize for that. But unfortunately, I need to see this too. Oh, I hate the 24 pin connector. I hate it so much. I think if I had to choose any connector and that I could just get rid of and I didn't need, it'd probably be the 24 pin connector. It's so big and beefy, and it's just hard to get in there without feeling like you're ripping apart your motherboard. Okay, that's 24 pin. So that's nice. Oh, sitting on a SATA connector. There we go. What's this? VGA? Alright, we'll get that one in there. So, graphics card. I think I'm going to sling it underneath, down this bottom grommet here. If I can. See, this is the complicated part, because when I did this before, of course, the GPU wasn't in here, so it's kind of hard to maneuver down underneath the GPU. Yeah, I might have to actually have to remove the GPU to do that. Oh gosh, that's such a nuisance. Maybe actually, instead of doing that, maybe what I'll do is I'll remove all of the SATA cables. Yeah, because they're not really in there right anyway. I'm afraid I'm bending some of them. Bending the sockets would be a lot worse though. All right. Let's get that gone. If I can. There we go. And remove that one. I don't want to set it down because there's stuff underneath it. So I kind of have to apply pressure to that little pin and then pull it out, but it's a little difficult. I'll try it with my other hand. Probably better with my other hand. Nope, I'm wrong. I'm not. Okay. Support with my arm. Pull out with my hand underneath. And then push in the pin on this. Let's try that one. Bit of a risky maneuver, but anyway, I'll give it a shot. Okay, pulling on this one. Pressing the pin. And got it. And the other one. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I kind of wanted to re-cable manage those anyway. Also, if you're just joining, welcome. Thank you for joining. This is just a bit of a ramble and a banter of me while I upgrade power supply and the fan header on my main video editing PC. I should have probably put the specs and stuff in the description, but anyway. If you're wondering what the specs are, just ask me and I'll reiterate those again. And if you've been here since the beginning, thank you for sticking with me. I know it's a bit of a calm, casual experience, but yeah, hope you're enjoying. I hate this part. I really hate cable managing. I am located in Newfoundland, Canada. A lot of people pronounce it Newfoundland. Nope. I mean, that's how it looks because it's Newfoundland, but we pronounce it Newfoundland. And that is on an island in the middle of nowhere. We even have our own time zone. So that's great. It's also why I am unable to get the newest tech like that, because middle of nowhere, people. All right, got all the SATA connectors out. Motherboard's connected. What is this? Oh, that's a SATA cable. Never mind. Couple SATA cables down there. All right. That's all. That's okay. That's okay. So let's get these out of the way for now. 1, 2. I'll leave that one plugged in and I'll leave that one plugged in. So 3, 4 is there. So that's the 4 SATA connectors. So now let us plug in the VGA cable. VGA cable. I said VGA cable because it says VGA on this, but it's our GPU power connector. I guess they're called VGA cables. I'm not really sure. All right, let's put it out through here. There we go. Should also probably mention I had the RTX 2080 pre-ordered. That didn't last long. I actually canceled that pre-order. And I have a number of reasons for doing so. I'm not sure if I'll make a full video on that or not, but it was getting really sketchy, to be honest. I pre-ordered it instantaneously at the press release, And the reason I did that was for a few reasons. The main one is because I wanted to show it on my YouTube channel and be one of the first people to actually order the RTX 2080, and then show it off to you guys and sort of, I guess, culminate a ton of views from it. But my hopes for the RTX 2080 have gone down with the ship that is NVIDIA's marketing team. Because to me, honestly, it just seems like NVIDIA's got nothing to show other than the RTX stuff that they showed at the press conference. Because it's just like, RTX is cool, don't get me wrong, and a lot of people agree with this. RTX is really cool. And the graphical enhancements that it brings to the table is also really cool. What's not cool is that this new technology absolutely decimates gaming performance as a whole. If you know, according to the only benchmarks that we've been able to see, RTX in 1080 enabled, you're not even getting 60 frames a second on the RTX 2080. Like, it's a bit ridiculous. It's a cool new technology, but until they perfect it and until they are able to make it a really viable source of power, like, for example, you know, if you're running it, you know, 1080p, 144 frames per second, I just don't think it's going to get the uptake that NVIDIA is trying to push. I watched the video where you said that your pre-order was done. Yeah, I mean, like, I would have loved to pit it up against my GTX 1080 Founders Edition. Just have it an all-out, you know, head-to-head fight between the two GPUs, but I just don't think it's going to be worth it. I mean, it cost me like 1,300 Canadian dollars to get that shipped here, taxes and everything else, and that doesn't even include if I have to pay duties, which I don't think I do. But anyway, $1,300 could get me, you know, a 1080 Ti and most of another 1080 Ti. So I could have two 1080 Ti's in this thing. It used, obviously, not new. For the performance gain that the RTX 2080 is going to have, it's just not worth it. And you'll see a billion other videos about that on the internet. But that's my take on it. And I really hope NVIDIA proves me wrong. But the fact that NVIDIA has stayed silent, because, I mean, this has been going on for the past 2 weeks now. People have been saying there's no way the RTX 2080 Ti, you know, the 2000 series is going to be anywhere near as much of an increase as the previous generation was, the 10 series cards. And NVIDIA hasn't done anything about it. They haven't said anything. They haven't said anything to say, oh yeah, no, you're definitely wrong, guys. Like, this RTX 2080 it's going to blow your mind. They haven't said anything like that. So that's a huge red flag for me. And so, you know, after watching a bunch of videos and, you know, agreeing with them and everything else, I said, you know what, $1,300, I would love to get the views, but that's a significant investment for a small YouTuber like me. It's fine if I do this full time and I have hundreds of thousands of subs, but at my size, it's just, I could think of so many other things I could do with $1,300. You can run two 1080 SLIs for that. Yeah, easily. And like, I could pick up another Founders Edition 1080 for, you know, 550, 600. What'll do me just fine. And like I said, I'm hoping wrong about the 2000 series, like a lot of other people have said, but I don't think I am. Anyway, back to this. It's fun chatting with you. Mainly just you, Demir, because no one else is popping in. It's just two people watching, but I guess the other person's fairly silent and listening. But glad to have you here if you are listening. Let's pull that out through there. I don't like how those are kind of just sitting there. Well, there's not much I can do about that. Anyway, okay, so the VGA cable's in. We've got our 24 pin. Next is the CPU connectors. All the way up here. And this is going to be an absolute pain. I'll tell you that right now. Oh, why is this cord in the middle of the heatsink? That's no fun. Oh, Kyle, hey. Just gaming. What are you playing? You mentioned a game. I can't even remember what it was called now. But I don't think I've played it. It started with an A. I looked at it briefly, but of course I was just starting to stream, so I was a little busy at the time. What was that game again? You're very welcome. Astroneers. Astroneers. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Minecraft in space. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It's a fairly new-ish game, isn't it? It looked really interesting to me. I might give it a shot at some point. Similar to No Man's Sky. You know what? No Man's Sky, people ripped on it for a long time, but I think they've... I'm honestly impressed of... just one sec. Let me flip this and I'll continue what I was about to say. Let me flip this onto its top so I can get at this CPU. Actually, that might be a bad idea. No, we're okay. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, No Man's Sky, you know, people ripped on that game, and as they should, because, you know, they delivered something that wasn't what everyone was anticipating. They delivered something that, you know, something they promised a whole bunch of stuff and they delivered like a quarter of it. So, you know, people were rightfully pissed. But honestly, good on them for coming back and really working on that game to the point where, you know, it's an actual... it's a decent game now from what I've seen and from what I've heard. You know, obviously a lot of the people that bought the game initially love it because they've just become, you know, absolute fans of the game. But even the people that were absolutely ripping on No Man's Sky before have sort of converted and said, you know what, this game is actually pretty good now. Early beta and multiplayer, not what we anticipated. They lied. Yeah, huge lies. I know. Yeah, and I totally agree. What they did essentially was egregious and should not have done that. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that the oh god, what was his name? Was it Sean or something like that? Anyway, the main marketing guy, I'm not sure if he just accidentally blurted out a lie and then just had to stick to his guns the whole time, or he was just or that was his intent from the very beginning, to lie to us and to try and get us to buy this game that obviously he had no intention of creating with multiplayer. But anyway, the company came back, they fixed the game, and the game is now much better because of it. And they've even named it, what is it, No Man's Sky Next or something like that. Generally disappointed in gaming and how it is right now. Actually, claim it's No Man's Sky. Casted from Scarlet. Yeah, it was a lot of lies. And to be completely honest with you, I was really interested in No Man's Sky at the beginning, but after I kind of just ignored it for a while and then came back amidst all the controversy around it and people saying that it was a whole bunch of lies. So I sort of forgot about it. And then when No Man's Sky Next was released and everyone was saying, wow, this game is actually pretty good now, I got interested in it again. And I kind of want it, you know, it looks really, really fun. But God, it's $80. It's 80 Canadian dollars. And I'm just like, ooh, that's expensive. But it looks interesting. And I've always been interested in space games. I used to play EVE a little bit. But I hate the subscription model. Anyway, that's a whole another ball game that I don't want to get into. I should really actually do the thing I came here to do. And, because I get so wrapped up in these conversations, which is fine. I like talking to myself a whole lot. Best alternative is only $20. So what's the main difference? If you wouldn't mind chatting a little bit, if you're not too busy there, Kyle. What's the main difference of between Astroneers and No Man's Sky? Like, what are the mechanics? Because I know No Man's Sky is like a procedurally generated, massive universe in which you can, you know, build and upgrade your ship and all that stuff. So like, what's the I guess the points of differentiation between No Man's Sky and Astroneers? If you wouldn't mind, while I'm doing this lovely legwork. Okay. If I go silent, it's because I'm trying to focus and plug in these stupid power connectors to the drives, because I find them so, for whatever reason, the L shape, that they only go in one way because they're keyed. I just find it so tedious, as most things with PC building tend to be. So that one's good. That one's good. Maybe we should have plugged in the SATA connectors first. So I haven't played Next, but in Astroneers, this is randomly generated, very well similar in that aspect. It's very Minecrafty. Would you mine materials? Okay. Yeah, I haven't. I've seen a lot of promotional material for No Man's Sky, and I've watched a lot of reviews and stuff for the next version of No Man's Sky, not the original. So I know a little bit about No Man's Sky, but I don't know much at all about Astroneers. I saw it and I was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting, and then I kind of forgot about the game. But anyway, yeah. It's kind of one of those. I hope I'm not obscuring the camera because it kind of looks like I'm hiding. Pay no attention. Pay no attention to the man behind the computer, sort of thing. These drives are buried behind a mess of spaghetti. Like, I don't. Again, I love cable management, the look of cable management, but I hate the actual doing the cable management. So it's kind of a mess back here, and I don't mind it being a mess back here, as long as it's not a mess up front, where you actually see things. But just connecting everything is kind of a nuisance now, where it is a bit of a mess. BRB got hungry. No worries, man. Come and go as you please. I will be here, probably. Still trying to get this power supply hooked up. It's been an hour to hook up a power supply. I mean, come on. What is this? Should have this done half an hour ago. You craft, smelt, upgrade. You can obtain research points. You know what? I'll probably end up playing that with you, Kyle, because for whatever reason, I really like grindy games. You know, games that have natural progression and you can do whatever you want whenever you want kind of games. They just get me. And I don't really know why, but like games like Rust and even Minecraft back in the day and you know, Terraria and that sort of thing. Like, these games just really suck me in and keep me there for a long period of time until I say, okay, enough is enough. I'm wasting my life away right now. But yeah, I really like those types of games, so it's our fault. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's something about the fact that I can progressively make my life in this game better as I continue. Makes me want to play again and again and again and again and again. And it's almost like custom unlocks and games and stuff like that. Like, I don't, you know, loot boxes and skins and all that stuff, those are fun, cool, sure, but they don't require me in most cases to play a whole lot of gameplay to actually get them, so I don't really care about. There's no really, like, in games like Fortnite and you know, PUBG and stuff like that, there's no real replay incentive over and over and over again. At least not like, you know, the real grindy games. At least for me. I don't know, you guys might find something different. Spending a ton of time just building like the days of Minecraft, man. I used to build like monuments in Minecraft. Like, I remember one time in Minecraft when I was, I don't know, a bunch of years ago, when Minecraft first came out, I built a like 1-to-1 scale of Helm's Deep from the Two Towers movie, Lord of the Rings. And God, I must have spent ages and ages at that, and I was doing it vanilla too, no mods, nothing. So I kind of impressed myself a little bit there, but anyway, a little bit of nerd for you. Okay, so I've connected the SATA power connectors. I keep saying SATA power connectors, but you know, I have my names for pretty much everything because I'm self-taught in this stuff. I just learn as I go. I know these are SATA connectors, but I call the other ones SATA power connectors. I'm not sure what they're actually called, but anyway. Now I need to connect the SATA connectors. Where did I pull this one out? Or why? 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all connected. This one must have been just in the case, just in case I needed an extra hard drive, so that's fine. I'll just leave that one out for now. What do we got? So let's connect all of our actual SATA cables, or SATA. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm glad the camera wasn't on this. Let me tell you what I just did. So SATA cables have two ends. These you know, some are L-shaped and the other side is not L-shaped. So I connected I connected both of my SSDs to both of my hard drives instead of connecting them to the motherboard. So, yep, genius moment there. See, this is what I get for just talking, not paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm going to start this computer up, or I'm going to hit the power button and this computer's not going to start because I have not paid any attention whatsoever to what I've been doing. Nothing wrong with being a little nerdy, even a little nightly. Absolutely right. Welcome, nightly nerds. God, I'm assuming you are also a nightly nerd. Okay. Let us stick the double the speed. Oh, if only it worked like that, man. If only it worked like that. I'll tell you what I wish. I wish these things were absolutely wireless. I wish I could just stick everything in the motherboard and there would be no wires anywhere. Wouldn't that be absolutely beautiful? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull all the SATA connectors through the rubber grommet first. And then I'll connect them up to the motherboard afterwards. Along with that USB 3.0. Now I have to connect the SSDs. And this time I won't connect them together. I snapped because my cat is currently digging into my couch. I'd kind of yell at him, tell him no, but I don't want to. I'm going to have to stop him. Just give me 1 sec. Yeah. He stopped on its own. He's kind of like a dog in the way, or a little kid in the way that he knows when he's doing something he's not supposed to, but he does it anyway. So, of course, when I jump up out of my chair, he goes running because he knows he's not supposed to do it. Anyway. Yep, that's my cat for you. A little bit of a devil sometimes. Stick that there. And then we'll grab our other power connector. Almost done, guys, with the power supply. I know this is kind of boring, but like I said, if I wasn't talking to you guys, it'd take half the time. So this video, you know, the stream is what? Going on an hour and 10 minutes now, but this video will probably only be like 5-ish, maybe 10. If I turn it into a video. I don't even know if I'm going to turn it into a video yet, but maybe. We'll see. Wire management can be a pain. It's easy to ignore it, but you'll pay for it later if you do. Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, I don't mind so much on the back as long as everything is, you know, nothing is restricting anything or anything like that, but on the front is where it counts, in my opinion. All right. So everything now is connected other than our 1, 2, 3, 4 set of cables and this USB 3.0 header. Where does that connect anyway, the USB 3.0? I think it's there underneath the you know what, I'm just gonna remove the GPU because this is gonna be a nuisance if I don't. And again, as I'll reiterate before, if you guys got any questions for me, or you know, if you just want my opinion on something, go for it. Ask any questions you like. Can't promise you'll agree with me on everything I say, but what can you do? I'm here to chat. It's much more fun when you're it's kind of odd, you know. I never was much of a streamer in terms of gaming. I enjoyed it and I did it for a little bit. But it's kind of fun in a weird way. It's like talking to yourself, but you're not really talking to yourself, which I do all the time anyway, so it's not really anything new for me. I don't know if you guys talk to yourself, but I do it a lot. All right, let's pull that 1080 out. This card, and don't get me wrong, I like the look of the RTX 2080s, but this card, when this card came out, I was like, wow, I love the look of this card. The Pascal GTX 1080 Founders Edition, first 10 series card that came out. I think it was the first, maybe it was the, yeah, I think it was the first card that was released. When they came out with this card, I was like, wow. I just love like the low poly look of it. You might have noticed it in my thumbnails and stuff like that, but I love low poly stuff, low poly art, low poly everything. I'm just gonna lay that down gently because I don't want to kill my graphics card now that I canceled my RTX 2080 pre-order. But yeah, it just that card just did it for me. I don't know why. All right, so now that the GPU's out and we're nice and clean on the inside, let's hook up these little SATA connector boys. Yep, 3.0 is a little in the way. There we go. I have to lift the case a little bit. Astroneers is low poly. You're really pushing me for that game, aren't you? This case is low poly too, which is almost the entire reason I bought this case was because it's got that that low poly front mesh. I might have to flip over the case. I don't like doing this, but just because the way this motherboard is seated, it's kind of hard to. I wish you guys could see this, but I couldn't flip it the other way. And you always have to be really careful when you're plugging in this USB 3.0 header, because the pins have a tendency to break sometimes, and that is not fun. You do not want to destroy a USB 3.0 header on your motherboard, especially not a brand new Z370 series motherboard. There we go. So that's nice and connected, I think. Didn't really go far into the... No, maybe it's not. It's kind of funny. Well, it wouldn't be, but it'd be almost funny if I broke the 3.0 header while I was saying don't break the 3.0 header. It does not want a seat for some silly reason. I'm not sure why. Okay. If you could just get in the slot, that would be fantastic. All right, there we go. So that's that. Now we just have the other SATA connectors. Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about this case, the fact that the SATA headers and the USB header here is just too dang close to the rubber grommets where they come out from, so they kind of have to bend and twist a little bit, and that's not good for the longevity of the well, the headers and the cables themselves. So yeah, but there's not much we can do about that. Alright, so let's get these connected up. Let's go silent for a minute. Go into ultimate concentration mode, because this is kind of difficult to do. And then we'll move on to something more interesting. Again, if you guys have any questions while I'm doing this, feel free to shoot me. Don't shoot me, just hit me with some questions. Alright, 2 more to go. And that should do it. So once we get these tied up on the back here, we should be done. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but have I ever mentioned that I hate cable management? Or really anything to do with cables. Can't stand any of it. All right, there we go. So let's just tie this up just a little bit to where it's not all over the place. Just gonna stick it in a few little places here and there. I'm sorry for this, but it has to be done. Alright. Just tidy it up just a little. Okay. I wish I could do something more about this, but the funny thing is, even though this is a modular power supply, on the back of the Fractal Design Meshify, there's really not that much space for cords or cables of any kind, so that's no fun. Anyway, if you're just joining, welcome. Thank you for joining. I am upgrading my video editing PC. It's the i7 8700, along with 32 gigabytes of G.Skill Trident RGB RAM, GTX 1080 Founders Edition, a couple of SSDs, a couple of hard drives, and yeah, and now the EVGA 650 gold Supernova power supply, which looks pretty nice, and I love the cables. All right, so let's just jam the rear cover back on. Actually, before we do that, we do have always a mess. Try so hard. Yeah, this is a mess back here. Up front is not a mess. And look, we've even got these really nice EVGA. Yeah, I'll clean this up at some point, I swear. So all right, so this is the interesting part. So this is a Silverstone PWM. Next time I want to do cable mod, me too. This is the Silverstone. It's got a model number, but Silverstone has lots of weird model numbers. Like my my other mini PC case is like the SG13B or something like that. So I can never remember the model number. But anyway, so this is gonna sit like right here-ish somewhere, if you guys can see that. And then you've got two connectors. One's for power, so I'm just gonna plug one of the SATA power connectors in right now, so that I get some power. Now it's powered, and the other. It goes directly into the PWM CPU header on the board. And then the CPU header, as well as the 3 case fans, plug into this. And the reason I have to do that is because, unfortunately, there are only 2 case fans on this motherboard. And I don't know why they did that. I really don't. Every PC case I've ever had, except for this one, has had at least 3 case fan headers, and this one doesn't, and I don't know why. But anyway, no big deal, because we've got this header now to save the day. So I'm just going to remove this dual lock double-sided tape here and position it as nicely as I can right about here somewhere, because that's where the cables are free, and where I'll be able to. I'm trying to think about this logically. Yeah, case fans will be able to plug in from there. That's fine. Okay, we'll stick it here. There we go. What size are the SSDs and hard drives? The SSDs, you've got a 500 gigabyte Samsung 840 EVO and then a Kingston HyperX Savage. Both of them are 500 gigabytes. So they're not real big solid state drives. One is for the OS, and the other is and OS and games, and the other one is for media storage for video editing and stuff like that. So we got some fast video editing from that SSD. And then we've got two 2 terabyte 7200 RPM hard drives for just slow storage and old video files and that sort of thing. I will be needing a NAS soon. I can guarantee you that right now. Because I'm starting to run out of space real fast. All right, so let's thread that through there. Then I'm also going to have to unplug the 2 case fans that are currently plugged in. And then we can fire everything up after it's all plugged in. So let's stick that there. That's stuck on nice. Ooh, that's scraping up the table. Oh well. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'll just mention this real briefly. Let me see if you can see it and position it a little better. Yeah, you can see it. So this knob here, this does not come on the case traditionally. And I know some of you probably were wondering what the heck this thing is. This is just one of those, you know, hanger knobs that you can get at Walmart or pretty much anywhere, really. And the reason that's there is, first of all, it looks really nice. It's got like this chrome accenting. It kind of matches the Fractal Design logo here. And it just kind of just sits there really nice. Anyway, normally you'd stick your headphones there, but I actually stick my Oculus Rift there because it's the nicest place to keep the Oculus Rift without buying like a wall hanger or something like that. But it'd also be really good for your headphones. So quick tip, these are like $5, $6, maybe $7 at Walmart. Pick one of these up. It comes with command strips, sticks right onto the front of your case. You can pull it off. I think it's just like a latch or something. You twist it and pull off or whatever else. And it's fantastic. It's been stuck there ever since. I know it looks kind of wobbly or whatever, but I've had my Oculus Rift on this for like a good maybe a year now, and it's great. M3? What do you mean M3? Is that what it's called? I'm not sure what you're referring to. You're gonna have to explain that a little further. But while you get to that, I'm going to unplug my case fans and route them through the back. M3 tape. Guess so. It's called command strips, or I call them command strips. M3 command strips. Okay, I don't know. I've always just called them command strips, but anyway, if that's what they're called, that's what they're called. All right, case fans, where are you? Can't quite remember where they are on this motherboard. Oh, let's just flip this over, get a better look. So I think initially I said there's 3 Be Quiet fans. There's actually 2. There's 2 Be Quiet Pure Wings fans, which are very quiet, as the name would suggest. And then there's also the Fractal Design. There's just a Fractal Design 120 there. Command made by M3. M3 makes everything. Oh, right. Never mind. Yeah, that completely slipped my mind. You're absolutely right. Okay, so let's unplug CPU fan 1. You know, one of the reasons I like CPU fans is because they don't have a pin. I hate the pins, the CPU pins that you have to like sort of pry back to pull up. Oh, I hate those. Where's the other one? Oh, we got a loose connection there on the reset. On the reset pin. That's fine. Plug that back in. And case fan 1. And there's also another case fan somewhere, and I'm not sure where I put it, so I'm gonna have to find it on the back. Another case fan wire. Anyway, so that's that. Those are the 2 case fans. All right, we're getting there, slowly but surely, but we're getting there. Let's pull this case fan out, and then I think this is. That's this. Okay, let's pull that one out as well. Ow. Just stepped on one of the SATA power connectors from the old power supply because I don't have it put in the box yet. So that kind of hurt a little bit. Okay. That needs to be properly cable managed at some point, but anyway, this is what we're working off of right now. It's a fairly nice looking system. I mean, what can you guys see? Can you guys see this right now? Sort of, but not really. So let me move that more into view. You can kind of see a little bit. Yeah. So you got your CryoRig H7 here. This is the Asus Prime Z370A. Oh, it's right there. It's got like a nice white, silver, black kind of look to it. Let's just tuck that cable in there so you don't see it. Then of course you've got your G.Skill 32 gigs of RAM, and that's beautiful. When that fires up, I'll show you guys that. And then of course the GTX 1080 sits here. I cannot fathom for the life of me why they haven't released a Founders Edition with RGB. With all the gamers obsessing over RGB, I don't understand it. I mean, I get it that they want their NVIDIA green in there, but for branding purposes. But come on, How much does it cost to put a couple of RGB LEDs in there? And I know I kind of sound like an RGB fanboy. I'm really not, but I don't really understand why they didn't do that. Okay. So let's push that out and push that out. And there should be a third in the back somewhere. I'll have to find it shortly. And then let's pull the PWM branding. Yeah, and I kind of assume that as well, but you know, this day and age, all the kids want the RGB, so I gotta wonder if sales would go up. I doubt it. I mean, the only people buying the Founders Edition cards are dumbasses like me that want them first. All right. We've got that. See, the sketchy thing about this is this actually plugs directly into the CPU fan header, which I don't really like. It seems kind of sketchy because it's almost like I'm afraid that the CPU fan is not going to work properly because I don't have it plugged into the CPU fan header. But that's okay. I think it'll work just fine. So let's route that into the back like that. Guess that's the nearest location for a grommet right there. And then we've got our, let's just make sure real quick that that's the right one. Yep. All right, so our header plugs directly into the CPU fan port. Sorry, the CPU fan port. PWM header. There we go. So that's routed nicely. Okay, let's plug in the case fans to the header. Might have to do some troubleshooting with this because I've never actually used a case fan header before. I know how it works in theory, but I might have to do some configuration in the BIOS and whatnot. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see that, but hope you guys can. Ooh, that's close. Okay, I'm glad it works, but I really should have hooked everything up before I stuck down the tape. And I was thinking about that too. It's one of those things that's in the back of your mind where it's like, yeah, no, I should really do that, and then you don't, and then you're like, I really should have did that. But anyway, it worked out, so that's fine. Case fan here. Actually, I think there's one of these that's meant to be the CPU fan. And it might be this one. Should probably check on that. But if that's the case, I don't think it'll fit. Because it's supposed to, ooh, yikes. All right, so let's reroute it along the back. Hindsight's 2020. Hindsight is always 2020. And it's funny because it's, the worst kind of hindsight is the kind that you knew, you were 100% sure that this was going to happen. You did it anyway. Well, you're not 100% sure, but you know what I mean. I think the only way to route that is either through here and up through the bottom, or through where I just went. And through where I just went, it doesn't work. So I'm gonna have to rip off the. Actually, let's just plug it in the way I did before, and then if we need to change the position of the Velcro, that's fine. It's just Velcro. I've got plenty more command strips, so no big deal. Let's just hook everything up to it first, because this is just Velcro. I can just pull it off. Yeah, see, it's sticky. All right, so let's plug in the CPU fan, and then a couple of the case fans, or 3 of the case fans. Let's find the other case fan too. So that one's 4-pin, and I believe the rest of the case fans are 3-pin. You can get 4-pin case fans, but most are 3-pin, I believe. So that's that one. Where's the other one? I know there's another one. I poked through here somewhere. If I can find it. Nope, that's that one. Confirmation bias. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Confirmation bias indeed. Oh, there's the other one. Plug that one in. So how are you guys doing? Demir, you must be getting tired. I mean, it's past midnight. It's what? Must be 1:30 there now? Jeez, man. I would be asleep long ago. Alright, so before I go any further, let me try and find the third case fan. Because the whole point of this header was to be able to run all three case fans at the same time, including the CPU fan. So I think that's here. Yep, here it is. I just routed it down the bottom and out the back. So I've got it here. 133, still nothing. So are you kind of just like listening to this and trying to fall asleep? Because if that's the case, it's kind of funny. I'm almost sort of glad that you're... I'm not glad you're not asleep, but you know what I mean. At least I'm not putting people to sleep. Huh. Will this only stick one way? That's kind of strange. I don't know how I think of it. The case might not even fit. Oh, you're still watching. Oh, okay. The case might not even fit over if I have this right where it is now. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see. Probably can't. Yeah. If I have this over where this is right now, if I move this forward. No, I have to move back actually. Oh wait, no I don't. Move it forward. So if I have this where this is right now, the case might not actually fit over top of it. The back of the case. I'm not entirely sure because this is what the clearance is here. So I might actually have to just stick that up there somewhere underneath all the cables, which might actually work out better in terms of cable management and whatnot anyway, but this is just becoming more and more of a mess as I go along. I swear to God, I will sit down and I will actually, you know, make this actually work and cable manage it properly, because right now this is nothing close to being properly cable managed. I just want to see it working first, and then I'll cut the stream, and then I won't bore you guys with the intensive cable management process. Let's stick this down here because I don't think the case will fit over that either, so that's nice. All right, so we've got all three of our case fans plugged in. Power connectors all good. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire it up. What's the best way to do that? I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me just pull the new power connector here out from its box, and I'll plug it into the wall, and then I'll start it up, and hopefully all the fans start spinning. If they don't, that's kind of an issue. Let me switch back to chat here. On the mesh in the front. I don't know how I feel about that. Do you mean on the back side of it? Like on the up here, like underneath behind? Because that's where the case fan intake is. I don't know if you're joking or not. I can't tell if you're joking. Okay, so that's that. Will that stretch over there? Hoping it will. So let's sit this up. If the CPU fan doesn't immediately start running, I'll flick it back off. Actually, let's now I'll leave the GPU unplugged for now. It doesn't really matter. Let me face this towards you guys, so you guys can see. So you guys can see the case fans, but you can't see the. Yeah, you won't be able to see both. Well, you'll be able to see the back. Yeah, there we go. Let's leave it like sort of like that. And even bring it a little closer, you guys, if you want. And then I'll plug it in. And then hopefully we see some lights and some spinning fans. Because if we don't, that's a bit of an issue. And I'll power it down immediately so we don't damage our little i7 8700. Okay. What can I unplug here? This. Just unplugged one of the Philips Hue lights. It'll forgive me later. Might have to tilt this back a little bit more. Alright. So what do you guys think? You think the case fans will run? I'm not entirely confident, to be honest. Let's tilt this a little more that way so you guys can see. I'm not sure if this is going to run at all, but guess we'll see. All right. So we've got power. Of course they will. I admire your confidence in my PC building ability, but it's not confidence that I share. All right, so we know the motherboard's connected, CPU fan's connected, GPU's not connected. That's fine. Okay, let's start it up and be ready to turn it off if nothing works. There we go. Case fans are running, CPU fan is running, and we are good to go. All right, so there's that lovely RGB RAM in there. Can I, no, I can't really change the direction of that much. Yeah, it looks tacky. It does look tacky to some people, and then others it looks absolutely stunning. I'm kind of in between. I love the black, but I love the accenting that RGB does provide sometimes. I think my preferred option is to go black everything and then have RGB that you can turn on and off at will. Told you. Yeah, you were right, you know. Yep, everything's working just peachy. So let's flick that off. And more or less my job is done here. I'm just going to turn that off. Flick off the power switch. Get your glow sticks and play some EDM. I used to have a dubstep phase, you know, and I really wish I had RGB gear when I had the dubstep phase, because that would be going 24/7. Because you can, with the Asus Aura, like with the motherboard, the RGB, and even to a certain degree the GTX 1080s built-in green LEDs, you can actually set in both Asus Aura's software and NVIDIA's oh god, what's that called? Anyway, one of NVIDIA's softwares, you can actually set the RGB lights and the green LEDs to flash to the beat of music. So like in my dubstep phase, if I had that going, and plus the Philips Hue lights that I have in here now and everything else, oh man, this place would be a rave so fast. We all had a dubstep phase. 1993 or 1994. I wasn't even born then. I was born in 1995. I am only 22 years old. I'll be 23 in December. All right. So while I'm here, let me just plug the GPU back in. God, these things are so heavy. So much metal, I guess. Yeah, like I said, I used to like dubstep. Not so much anymore. I listen to pretty much everything. I listen to anything from, God forbid. Okay, I will say this. Country is the only thing I can't listen to anymore. I did have a country phase, but I don't listen to country anymore. But everything else is fair game. I've listened to literally everything. I don't like how that CPU fan cord is stuck out there. Okay, that's fine. Let's plug our handy dandy GTX 1080 back in. One thing I always loved about GPUs are how plug and play they are, because it's literally just slotted into the motherboard and then plug in the power and then you're good to go. A couple screws. Speaking of, where are my screws? They're there. Modern country is just bad pop. I have, actually, no I don't. I was going to say I have some friends that disagree with you, but I don't think I have any friends that like country. Oh. Yeah, I hate it when that happens. I really need a magnetic screwdriver so that when this happens I can easily pick those screws back up. Sometimes you lose oh, these are thumb screws. What am I even using this for? Sometimes I have screws that that I lose because of my butterfingers, my giant butterfingers, and I lose them into the case, and sometimes they get lost completely. And That sound of a screw dropping in. It's awful, isn't it? And sometimes they lodge themselves in places that they definitely should not be lodging themselves, like underneath the motherboard. And that's a problem. I'm not sure if you guys were around for the last live stream, but I did do a live stream. It wasn't put up publicly afterwards. I just live streamed it. But I had an issue with this computer last time. I had the i7-8700 actually die on me, and I couldn't figure out what it was at the time. I had absolutely no idea. I tried every possible method of troubleshooting that I could possibly try, and there were a few people as well in the live stream that were trying to help me, and nobody could figure out what the problem was. So I eventually just said, you know what, screw it. I'll RMA both the motherboard and the CPU, because that's what we had it narrowed down to at the time. It had to be either the motherboard or the CPU. But Intel got back to me fairly quickly before Asus did, actually, about the motherboard, and said, you know, we have a cross-shipping RMA process whereby they would immediately send me a new i7-8700 as long as I paid for it first. And then once you ship back the old damaged part, they would immediately refund you. So I did that first before I waited for the RMA of the motherboard to go through, and sure enough, as soon as the new i7-8700 dropped in, everything was working fine. So I don't know what happened there. I honestly don't. It just gave out completely. I was what was I doing at the time? I think I was just browsing the internet. It might have been on Reddit or something like that. And then I got the blue screen of death, and the computer completely shut down. And I restarted it, and I got it to the Windows logo, and then it shut down again. And then after that, the computer would not boot. It would boot fine. Everything sounded like it was working just fine, but there was no post beep. There was no display whatsoever. So yeah, I thought it might have been the graphics card first, and then we swapped out the power supply, and then the only real thing left was the CPU and the motherboard. So I made the CPU, and turns out the CPU just up and died for whatever reason, and I don't know why, because the CryoRig H7 is one of the best coolers out there for the money, especially. Because these things are under $50. They look fantastic, provide excellent cooling performance, and they're fairly quiet too, and they're a good reputable brand. So I know it wasn't the cooler, and I know it wasn't the thermal paste, because I bought the best thermal paste that I could possibly buy, and everything was seated correctly. I made sure of that, and there was no broken pins or anything like that. The CPU just died, and I don't know if it's just you know, the fact that this is one of Intel's newest CPUs and a new architecture and that sort of thing, and you know, they did put 2 more cores in it, so you know, sure, there are some reliability issues, but I really didn't expect that from an Intel CPU, because I've never had it happen before, and I've never actually heard of any one of my close friends or anything like that who've been building PCs for years. That's never happened to them either, so that was an interesting little experience, but I'm glad it was sorted out. I'm just waiting for the return now, because I did ship in the CPU, and they have received it. I think tomorrow is the 3rd business day or something like that. They're supposed to refund me for it. So hopefully that goes through, and they don't try and blame it on me, because I swear it wasn't my fault. So that's about it. Everything is plugged in. Everything is good to go. Had a GPU just die on me. Frustrating. Yeah, I know, man. Like, you know, the funny thing is, I haven't been building PCs that long. But every GPU I've owned has been a Founders Edition GPU, and I've never had one die on me. I don't know why I keep buying Founders Editions. It's just because they make them look so damn nice every year, and they just get progressively nicer, except for the RTX 2080, man. I don't like the look of that. Cool that they've switched to a dual fan instead of a blower setup. Definitely would produce some better performance in terms of cooling there, but yeah, I don't like the look of it at all. I really don't. Pascal had an excellent look. That's my favorite. But anyway, enough rambling, enough banter. I get sidetracked a whole lot. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in for, what, an hour and 46 minutes-ish, give or take a few, for whenever you came in. But appreciate you guys coming by. I'll probably make this into a short, you know, maybe 5 to 10 minute video. But that's it for now. As I said, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you've already subscribed if you haven't. I hope you've already subscribed, but if you haven't, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And